We travel back now to a foggy morning in California. The date is August 16th, 1942. The world is at war, but on the coast of San Francisco, the ocean is quiet. Imagine standing on the deck of an aircraft carrier, looking out at the gray water. The air smells of salt and diesel. High above, floating silently like a giant silver whale, is a blimp, the L-8. It is a patrol airship, tasked with looking for enemy submarines in the deep water. The L-8 takes off from Treasure Island in the San Francisco Bay. Inside the small gondola are two experienced pilots, Lieutenant Cody and Ensign Adams. Listen to the sound of the engines. It is not the roar of a jet, but a steady, rhythmic hum of propellers. Thrum, a white noise that vibrates gently through the frame of the airship. They fly low, hovering over the Golden Gate Bridge, watching the cars pass below like tiny toys. They head out towards the Farallon Islands, a cluster of jagged, rocky islands about 30 miles off the coast. These islands are desolate, covered in birds and surrounded by sharks. The fog begins to roll in, the famous San Francisco fog, thick, cold, covering the ocean in a blanket of white. The blimp floats in and out of the clouds, disappearing and reappearing like a ghost. At 7:42 a.m., Lieutenant Cody radios the base. He says he sees an oil slick on the water. He says they're going down to investigate. This is a routine procedure. The blimp circles lower. People on fishing boats nearby see the airship. They see it hovering just above the waves. They see the two pilots in the cabin. Everything looks normal. The pilots wave. The fishermen wave back. The engines are humming perfectly. But then, the radio goes silent. The base tries to contact L-8. L-8, come in. L-8, report. There's no answer. Just the hiss of static. Hiss. Crackle. Hiss. The blimp does not return to base. Instead, it begins to drift. It is no longer being flown. It is being pushed by the wind. It rises up into the clouds, drifting aimlessly back towards the city. Imagine the scene on the beach in Daly City. It is a Sunday morning. People are walking on the sand. Suddenly, they look up. Emerging from the fog is the massive silver shape of the blimp. But it looks wrong. It is sagging in the middle. The engines have stopped. It is drifting silently, dangerously low. It grazes the roof of a house. Scrape. It knocks off a chimney. Bricks fall to the ground, but the blimp keeps moving. It floats over the neighborhood like a tired balloon. Finally, it comes to rest in the middle of a street, Bellevue Avenue. It lands gently, right in front of a house. The neighbors run out. They expect to see the pilots injured. They expect to see fire. But there is no fire. The police arrive. The fire department arrives. They rush to the gondola car attached to the bottom of the blimp. They open the door, and they freeze. The cabin is empty. Lieutenant Cody and Ensign Adams are gone. But the mystery is inside the cabin. It is perfectly orderly. The pilots' parachutes are still there, packed in their bags. The life raft is still there. The radio is in perfect working order. A briefcase containing secret codes is still sitting on the seat. And the most haunting detail, a cup of coffee, sitting on the dashboard. It had not spilled. The blimp had crashed, bounced off roofs, and landed on the street. But the landing was so gentle that the coffee was still in the cup. Where'd the men go? The door was latched open. Did they fall out? Did they jump? But why would they jump without parachutes? Why would they leave a perfectly safe airship? The Navy searched the ocean for days. They searched the Farallon Islands, They found nothing. No bodies. No life jackets. The men had simply vanished into the thin air, somewhere between the ocean and the clouds. The L-8 became known as the Ghost Blimp. It was repaired and flew again after the war, but the pilots were never seen again. Imagine the blimp now, a silver shape floating in the gray sky, drifting silently over the ocean. The engine is off. The cabin is empty. It is peaceful up there, above the clouds, above the noise, just the wind pushing it gently along. Let your mind drift with the ghost blimp. You are weightless, floating. There is no destination. There is no hurry. The fog wraps around you, cool and soft. The world below is far away. The streets, the houses, the people, they are all small and distant. You are safe in the clouds. The mystery is left behind. The only thing that matters now is the quiet, the silence of the sky. We leave the foggy coast of California behind us now and travel east, across the continent, to the snowy hills of West Virginia. It is Christmas Eve, 1945. The war is over, and the world is celebrating. Imagine a large, two-story wooden house in the town of Fayetteville. It is the home of George and Jenny Sodder and their 9 children. The house is warm and full of life. Outside, the snow is falling gently, flake by flake, covering the roof, covering the trees, turning the world into a silent white painting. Inside, the fire is crackling in the hearth. The smell of pine needles and baked apples fills the air. The younger children are excited about their gifts. They ask their mother if they can stay up late to play with their new toys. She smiles and agrees. The atmosphere is perfect. It is the definition of safety. Eventually, the parents go to bed. The house grows quiet. The only sound is the wind whistling softly through the cracks in the wood. At 12:30 a.m., the phone rings. The sound cuts through the silence. Jenny wakes up and goes downstairs to answer it. It is a wrong number. A woman's voice laughs strangely, and in the background, there is the sound of clinking glasses, like a party. Jenny hangs up. She notices the lights are still on, and the curtains are open. She closes them. She goes back to bed. The house is silent again. But half an hour later, she hears a sound on the roof. A loud bang, like something heavy rolling. Then a quiet hissing sound. She smells smoke. She wakes George. They run into the hallway and realize the office is on fire. The fire is spreading fast, eating the old wood. They rush outside into the snow. They call for their children. 4 of them run out, but five are still upstairs in the attic bedrooms. George tries to go back in. The staircase is a wall of flame. He runs to the garage to get his ladder. He keeps a tall, heavy ladder there always. But when he gets there, the ladder is gone. It has vanished. He runs to his coal trucks. He plans to drive a truck under the window and climb up. He turns the key. The engine cranks. Chug, but it doesn't start. Both trucks, which worked perfectly yesterday, are dead. The family stands in the snow, barefoot and freezing, watching their home burn. They shout the names of their children. Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, Betty. But there's no answer from the attic. Only the roar of the fire. The house collapses into the basement. By morning, it is nothing but a pit of smoking ash. The fire department arrives when the sun comes up. They sift through the ashes. They expect to find the remains of the 5 children, but they find nothing. No bones, no teeth, nothing. In a fire that burned for only 45 minutes, bones should not disappear completely. It was as if the children were never there, as if they had melted into the smoke. Then, the clues started to appear. A bus driver said he saw balls of fire being thrown onto the roof. The missing ladder was found days later, hidden in a ditch far from the house. The phone line had been cut, not burned, and a witness claimed she saw the children in a car, watching the fire, before driving away into the night. Years passed. George and Jenny never stopped looking. They planted flowers in the garden where the house stood. They put up a massive billboard on the highway with pictures of the 5 children, asking for help. The billboard stood there for decades, fading in the sun and rain, staring at the cars passing by. A silent plea for answers. 20 years later, a letter arrived in the mail. It had no return address. Inside was a photo of a young man. On the back it said, "Louis Sodder. I love Brother Frankie. Illo boys. A 90132. The young man looked exactly like their son Louis would have looked as an adult. Did they survive? Were they taken away to start a new life? Or was it a cruel joke? The parents died without ever knowing the truth. The billboard is gone now. The snow falls on the empty lot every winter, covering the ground where the house once stood. The mystery is buried under the earth. And now, let us step back from the cold snow. Leave the mystery in the past. You are safe. The fire is just a warm glow in the fireplace. The snow outside is beautiful and silent. It muffles the world. It creates a barrier between you and the noise. Imagine the snowflakes falling in slow motion, each one unique, each one silent, spinning, drifting, landing softly. Your eyelids are heavy, like the branches of the pine trees covered in snow. The world is white and clean. There is nothing to worry about, just the quiet, just the peace. We leave the snowy hills of West Virginia behind and travel north to the historic streets of Boston, Massachusetts. It is the night of St. Patrick's Day, March 18th, 1990. The city is celebrating. The streets are wet with rain, but we are leaving the noise of the pubs behind. We are going to a quiet, dark corner of the Fenway district, to a building that looks like a Venetian palace lost in time, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. Imagine this building. It was built to house a magnificent collection of art. Inside, there is a central courtyard, filled with palms, ferns, and seasonal flowers. Even in winter, it smells of damp earth and blooming petals. Above, a glass roof protects the garden from the Boston rain. Listen to the rain tapping gently on the glass. It creates a rhythm of peace and isolation. The museum is closed. The galleries are dark. The only people inside are 2 young night guards. At 1:24 a.m., a car pulls up to the side entrance. 2 men in police uniforms step out. They press the buzzer. They tell the guard they are investigating a disturbance. The guard, against protocol, buzzes them in. The heavy door clicks open, and just like that, the thieves are inside. They tie up the guards in the basement. They are gentle. They tell them, "This is a robbery. Don't worry, you won't be hurt." And then, the thieves have the entire palace to themselves. Usually, a robbery takes 3 minutes. Speed is everything. But these men, they took 81 minutes. Imagine the silence of the museum. The thieves walking slowly through the dark hallways. Their flashlights cutting through the shadows. The beam of light hits the rich velvet walls. It hits the gold frames. It hits the eyes of the portraits staring back at them. They are in no rush. The rain continues to fall outside, washing away the world. They enter the Dutch room, a room with high ceilings and dark wood paneling. They approach a masterpiece by Rembrandt, The Storm on the Sea of Galilee. It is Rembrandt's only seascape. The frame is massive and heavy. Instead of taking the frame, they do something heartbreakingly precise. They take a sharp blade. Listen to the sound. They slice the canvas along the edge, cutting it free from the wood. They pull the painting out and roll it up like a poster. They move to a Vermeer, the concert, one of only 34 Vermeers in the world. Gone. They take a Flink. They take a Manet. They move through the rooms like ghosts, picking and choosing. They try to take a flag from the Napoleonic Wars, but the frame is too difficult, so they leave it. They unscrew the finial, a golden eagle, from the top of the flagpole. It takes time. Screw, turn, screw, turn. The metal squeaks softly in the quiet room. For an hour and 20 minutes, they work. The motion detectors record their movements. They show the thieves wandering, checking different rooms, almost like they are admiring the art before they steal it. It is a slow, methodical violation of history. At 2:45 a.m., they make 2 trips to their car. They load the paintings into the trunk. The rain is still falling on the wet pavement. They get in the car, and they drive away into the Boston night. The next morning, the day shift arrives. They find the guards in the basement. They rush upstairs, and what they find is a sight that haunts the art world to this day. The thieves did not take the frames. They left them hanging on the walls. Massive, ornate, gilded frames, framing nothing but the empty space on the wall. Empty rectangles, like open mouths screaming in silence. Isabella Stewart Gardner's will stated that nothing in the museum should ever be moved or changed. So, the museum directors made a decision. They left the empty frames hanging. If you go there today, you will see them. The empty frame where Rembrandt used to be. The empty frame where Vermeer used to be. They are waiting for the art to return. Ghosts of the past. 30 years have passed. The FBI has chased leads all over the world, from the Italian mob in New England to warehouses in Philadelphia, to the IRA in Ireland. $500 million worth of art. Gone. Vanished without a trace. Not a single painting has ever surfaced. Are they hanging in a secret room in a billionaire's mansion? Are they rolled up in a damp basement rotting away? Or were they destroyed? The mystery remains. But tonight, let us return to the quiet of the courtyard. The thieves are gone. The guards are safe. The flowers are blooming in the dark. The fountain trickles softly. Splash, splash. The rain on the glass roof is a lullaby. The empty frames are keeping their vigil, watching over the room. You are far away from the crime. You are safe in your own sanctuary. The walls around you are solid. The air is still. Imagine walking through that quiet museum in your mind. The carpet softens your steps. The smell of old books and flowers surrounds you. It is a place of deep, deep rest. We leave the warm museums and the rainy cities behind us now, and we travel north again, to the very edge of the map, to the archipelago of Svalbard, high in the Arctic Circle. The year is 1897. It is July, but there is no summer here. Only endless daylight and endless ice. Imagine a wooden hangar built on the frozen beach. Inside, something massive is growing. It is a balloon, a hydrogen balloon named the Eagle. It is made of Chinese silk, varnished to hold the gas. It stands nearly 30 meters high, swelling and breathing as it fills with hydrogen. 3 men from Sweden, led by Salomon Andrée, are preparing for an impossible journey. They plan to fly this balloon over the North Pole. They believe the wind will carry them safely across the top of the world. They are dressed in heavy wool suits. They pack champagne, fine food, and tuxedos for when they land. They are confident, they are brave, and they are completely unaware of the silence that awaits them. On July 11th, the ropes are cut. Slash. The eagle rises into the gray sky. It drifts silently over the ocean. Imagine the view from the wicker basket. The world below is a mosaic of white ice and black water. The only sound is the creaking of the basket and the wind in the ropes. Creak, creak. They are floating, weightless, drifting into the great white unknown. They drop buoys with messages inside, hoping someone will find them. All is well. They write, floating at 600 meters. But the Arctic is cruel. The fog begins to roll in, a thick, freezing mist that clings to everything. The moisture freezes on the silk of the balloon. Ice coats the ropes. Ice coats the basket. The beautiful, light balloon becomes heavy. It starts to lose altitude. It sinks lower and lower. It bounces off the ice. Bump, drag, bump. For 3 days, they fight gravity. They throw out sandbags. They throw out food. They throw out their equipment. But the ice is too heavy. The eagle can fly no more. The balloon crashes gently onto an ice floe. The 3 men are alive. They are unhurt, but they are stranded in the middle of a frozen ocean, hundreds of miles from land. The balloon, their only way home, is a crumpled pile of silk on the snow. They are now pedestrians on a moving floor of ice. The ice is drifting with the current, taking them away from safety. They pack their sledges, 3 heavy wooden sledges, weighing hundreds of pounds each. They harness themselves to the sledges like horses, and they begin to walk. Imagine the sound. The ice is not flat. It is a chaotic landscape of pressure ridges, walls of ice as high as houses, and open pools of black water. They have to lift the sledges over every wall. They fall into the freezing water. They are wet. They are exhausted, but they keep walking. For 3 months, they march. It is a white nightmare. Sometimes they walk north for 10 miles, only to find that the ice drift has carried them south by 12 miles. They are walking on a treadmill, but they keep strict journals. They take photographs. They set up camp every night, even though the sun never sets. They read books to each other. They try to keep their dignity in the face of the impossible. Finally, in October, they reach a small, desolate rock called White Island, Victoria. It is just a hump of rock and glacier in the sea. They are too tired to go further. They set up their final camp. They pitch their silk tent. But the winter is coming. The temperature drops. The polar night begins to fall. The darkness swallows them. And then the diaries stop. The writing ends. The silence takes over. For 33 years, the world wondered what happened to Andrée. They were the lost men of the ice. But in 1930, a group of seal hunters and geologists landed on White Island by chance. It was an unusually warm summer, and the snow had melted just enough to reveal a secret. There, sticking out of the snow, was a boat, and near the boat, the remains of the camp. It was a time capsule frozen in ice. They found the men. They found their diaries. wrapped in sweaters to protect them. They found their cooking stove, still filled with fuel. But the most haunting discovery was the cameras. 5 rolls of film, frozen in a block of ice for 33 years. When the experts developed these photos back in civilization, the ghosts appeared. Blurry, grainy images of the men standing by the crashed balloon. Images of them pushing the heavy sledges. Images of their lonely camps. We could finally see what they saw. The vast, empty, beautiful white silence. Why did they die? Was it the cold? Was it bear meat poisoning? Was it carbon monoxide from their stove inside the snowed-in tent? We will never know for sure. They simply went to sleep one night and never woke up. They became part of the island, part of the ice. And now, let us leave White Island. The snow has covered the camp again. The wind has erased their footprints. The balloon is long gone. You are far away from that lonely rock. You are safe in your warm room. The journey is over. Imagine the balloon floating again in your mind. Not crashing, but rising. Rising high above the clouds. Drifting in the eternal sunlight. Weightless. Free. Silent. The basket rocks gently. Back and forth. Back and forth. We leave the frozen ice of the North Pole behind us now, and we travel back to the United States, to the quiet, ancient forests of Vermont. It is late autumn. The year is 1946. Imagine a landscape painted in shades of brown, gray, and fading gold. The trees have lost their leaves, and their bare branches reach up like fingers into the overcast sky. The air is crisp and cold, smelling of dried earth and approaching winter. This area is known as the Bennington Triangle, a place of deep woods and shadowed mountains, where local legends say the wind speaks in riddles. On the afternoon of December 1st, a young college student named Paula Welden decided to go for a walk. She was 18 years old, full of life and energy. She wanted to see the beauty of the Long Trail, a famous hiking path that cuts through the wilderness. Imagine Paula getting ready. She puts on her walking shoes. She puts on a distinctive, bright red wool coat with a fur collar. That red coat is important. It is a splash of vibrant color against the dull, gray background of the woods. It makes her visible for miles. She walks out of her dormitory and heads towards the mountain. Listen to the sound of her walk. Step, crunch, step, crunch. The ground is covered in a thick carpet of dry, brittle leaves. Every footstep is loud in the silence of the forest. She passes a few people on the road. They wave. She smiles. She seems happy. She reaches the start of the trail. The sun is beginning to lower in the sky, casting long, stretching shadows between the trees. Behind her, about 100 yards back, an older couple is also walking the trail. They see Paula ahead of them. They see the bright red coat moving through the trees. They watch her walk up a small incline. She reaches a bend in the path, where the trail turns behind a rocky outcrop. She turns the corner and goes out of their sight for just a moment. The couple continues walking. They reach the same bend just a few moments later. They turn the corner, expecting to see the red coat ahead of them, but the trail is empty. It is a long, straight path stretching out before them. There are no side paths, no thick bushes to hide in, just the open woods. And Paula is gone. It is as if she stepped around the corner and walked into another dimension. The couple is confused. They stop and listen. They expect to hear the crunching of leaves. They expect to hear her walking. But the woods are absolutely silent. Not a twig snaps. Not a bird sings, just the hollow sound of the wind blowing through the valley. Whoosh, whoosh. The red coat has vanished into the gray air. That night, the snow begins to fall. It starts as a light dusting, then becomes heavier, a white curtain descending on the mountain. By morning, the trail is covered. Any footprints that might have been there are buried under inches of fresh snow. The mountain has sealed its secrets. The search begins. Hundreds of men, soldiers, and firefighters comb the woods. They wear heavy coats and carry lanterns. They walk shoulder to shoulder, poking the snow with long sticks. They are looking for a flash of red, a red coat against the white snow. It should be easy to see, but they find nothing. They search the caves. They search the ravines. They search for weeks. The silence of Glastonbury Mountain is heavy. The searchers reported feeling strange, as if they were being watched by the trees themselves. The wind in this place sounds like whispering voices. Did Paula get lost and wander off the trail? Did she fall? Or did the mountain simply take her? There were rumors of a Bennington monster, a wild man of the woods. There were rumors of a serial killer, but there was no evidence, no struggle, no scream, just a sudden, impossible absence. Paula Jean Welden was never found. Her red coat was never seen again. She became part of the folklore of the Bennington Triangle, one of several people who vanished in that same area during those years. The locals say that on quiet autumn afternoons, when the light is just right, you can still catch a glimpse of red moving between the trees. But tonight, the woods are empty. The searchers have gone home. The snow has stopped falling. The forest is resting under a blanket of white. Imagine the trees standing still, like silent guardians. The path is covered. The mystery is asleep. You are far away from the dark woods. You are safe in your warm room. The walls protect you. The blankets hold you. Let the image of the forest fade away. The gray sky turns to a soft, comforting black. The crunch of the leaves is replaced by the rhythm of your own heart. We leave the damp forests and the frozen tundra behind us now, and we travel to the American Southwest, to the dry, heated heart of Arizona. Imagine a landscape that looks like the surface of Mars. Red dust, cactus standing like silent sentinels, with their arms raised to the sky, and rising out of the desert floor, a jagged, terrifying range of peaks known as the Superstition Mountains. The Apaches called this place the home of the Thunder God. They said it was sacred ground, a place where men should not go. But the lure of gold is stronger than fear. The legend begins in the 1870s with a German immigrant named Jacob Waltz, known to everyone as the Dutchman. He was a weathered, quiet man with a secret. Every few months, he would ride his mule into these dangerous mountains. He would disappear into the labyrinth of canyons for days. And when he returned to the city of Phoenix, his saddlebags were heavy, not with rocks, but with gold. And not just dust or nuggets, but rich, heavy gold ore, chopped directly from a quartz vein. It was the purest gold anyone had ever seen. People begged him to tell them where he found it. They followed him. They spied on him. But Waltz was clever. He would change his route. He would double back. He would hold a gun across his lap. He guarded his secret with his life. Imagine the old man sitting by his campfire in the middle of the vast, empty desert. The fire crackles. Pop crackle. The sparks fly up into the endless black sky, joining the millions of stars that look down on the desert floor. The silence out here is different. It is vast. It is ancient. The wind whistles through the holes in the rocks, creating a low, mournful song. Walt sits there, touching the gold, knowing he is the only king of this castle. But secrets are heavy burdens. In 1891, a catastrophic flood hit Phoenix. Walt's farm was destroyed, and he caught pneumonia. He lay dying in a small room, cared for by a neighbor named Julia Thomas. As the life faded from him, he finally whispered the clues to his mind. He told her it was near a rock formation that looked like a weaver's needle. He said, "The setting sun shines into the entrance of my mine." He said, "You can see the military trail from the mine, but you can't see the mine from the trail." Waltz died, taking the exact location to his grave. Julia Thomas and others sold everything they owned to buy supplies. They marched into the Superstition Mountains. They looked for the Weaver's Needle, and they found it, a massive spire of rock shooting up into the sky, casting a long, dark shadow over the land. They searched that shadow for years. They climbed every ridge. They dug in every cave. But the desert gave them nothing, just heat, dust, and scorpions. Over the decades, thousands of dreamers have gone into those mountains. Some found fool's gold, some found nothing, and some never came back. The Superstition Mountains are rugged and confusing. The canyons twist and turn. It is easy to lose your way. Search parties have found abandoned campsites, with coffee pots still sitting on the stones, rusted by time. They have found skulls bleached by the sun. It is said that the mine is cursed, protected by the spirits of the mountain. But maybe there is no curse. Maybe it is just the nature of the wild. The desert keeps what it takes. Imagine the mine now, a hole in the earth, hidden behind a bush or a fallen rock. Inside, veins of pure gold glitter in the dark, unseen by human eyes for 150 years. The spiders spin their webs across the entrance. The dust settles on the floor. It is waiting, but it will wait forever. And now, let us step back from the edge of the canyon. The sun has set. The heat of the day is gone, replaced by the cool, refreshing desert night air. You are far away from the sharp rocks and the thorny cactus. You are in your sanctuary. Imagine the desert at night. It is a place of profound peace. The wind has stopped. The animals are sleeping. The only light is the soft silver glow of the moon illuminating the sand. The world is vast and open. Feel that openness in your mind. No walls, no ceilings, just space. Your breathing is deep and expansive. You are relaxing into the silence. The gold does not matter. The mystery does not matter. Only the rest matters. We leave the dry deserts of Arizona behind us now, and we travel all the way to the northeastern coast of North America, to the rocky shores of Nova Scotia, Canada. Imagine a small, tree-covered island sitting in Mahone Bay. It is called Oak Island. The year is 1795. It is a summer afternoon. The air smells of pine resin and salt water. The ocean is calm, lapping gently against the gray stones of the beach. A teenage boy named Daniel McGinnis is wandering across the island. He pushes through the thick brush and old oak trees. He comes to a clearing. In the center of this clearing, he sees something strange. An old oak tree stands there, and one of its heavy branches has been cut short. Hanging from the branch is an old ship's tackle block, swaying gently in the breeze. Creak, creak, and directly below the block, there is a circular depression in the earth. The ground has been disturbed. It looks like someone has dug a hole and filled it back in. Daniel returns the next day with two friends, John and Anthony. They are young, strong, and full of curiosity. They bring shovels and picks. They believe it is pirate treasure. Captain Kidd's gold, perhaps. Listen to the sound of their shovels breaking the soil. Chunk, scrape, lift, chunk, scrape, lift. They begin to dig into the soft earth. At 4 feet deep, they find a layer of flagstones. Strange stones, not from this island. They remove them. They keep digging. The deeper they go, the harder the work becomes. The dirt is packed tight. They reach 10 feet deep. Their shovels hit something hard. Thud. It is wood. They clear away the dirt and find a platform of solid oak logs, embedded into the sides of the pit. They pull up the logs. Underneath, there is only more dirt. They keep digging. 20 feet deep. Another platform of oak logs. 30 feet deep. Another platform. It is a pattern. Someone went to incredible lengths to construct this. But who? And why? The boys dig until they are exhausted, but they cannot reach the bottom. They leave, promising to return. Years pass. The boys grow up, but the mystery of the pit stays with them. In 1804, a wealthy group of investors called the Unsolved Company arrives. They bring better tools. They bring men. They bring determination. They begin to dig again. Imagine the scene. A tripod set up over the hole. A bucket being lowered down into the dark. Down, down, down. They reach 40 feet. Another log platform. 50 feet. Another platform. 60 feet. 70 feet. 80 feet. At every 10-foot interval, they find a barrier. And not just wood. They find layers of charcoal, layers of putty, and strangely, layers of coconut fiber. Thousands of coconut strands. This is significant because coconuts do not grow in Canada. These fibers must have been brought on a ship from the Caribbean, thousands of miles away. The mystery deepens. At 90 feet deep, they find something different. A large, flat stone. It is not sandstone or limestone. It is a hard, gray stone. And carved into its face are strange symbols. Not English. Not French. A cipher. Years later, a professor would translate the symbols to read. 40 feet below, 2 million pounds are buried. The men are ecstatic. They are close. The gold is just below their feet. Night falls. They stop digging for the day. They go to sleep, dreaming of riches. But when they return the next morning, their hearts break. The pit is full of water. Seawater. It is flooded up to the 30-foot level. They bail the water out with buckets. Splash. Splash. But for every bucket they remove, 2 more flow in. The water level does not drop. It remains constant, rising and falling with the tide of the ocean. They realize with horror that this is not just a hole. It is a machine, a hydraulic trap. The builders had constructed underground tunnels leading from the ocean to the pit. These flood tunnels were designed to drown anyone who got too close to the treasure. The harder you dig, the more the water flows. It is a brilliant, deadly engineering marvel from centuries ago. The Unsolved Company runs out of money. They leave, defeated by the water. 40 years pass. It is 1845. The Truro Company arrives. They bring a new technology, a steam engine. Listen to the sound of the steam engine, chugging in the quiet woods. Chuff, 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 hiss. They pump the water out, but the trap is too strong. Then tragedy strikes. The bottom of the pit collapses. Rumor has it that a money chest fell even deeper into the earth, lost into a void of mud and water. In 1897, another group arrives. They decide to use a drill, a long, iron auger to probe the depths without digging. They lower the drill inside a pipe, down to 90 feet, 100 feet, 120 feet. At 126 feet, the drill hits something. It drills through wood. Then, it drills through something else. Something metal, but soft metal, like loose coins. Then layers of metal in pieces. When they pull the drill up, they find tiny fragments of gold chain on the tip, and a tiny piece of parchment paper, no bigger than a fingernail. On the paper, written in quill pen, are the letters 6. Is it part of a manuscript? Is it Shakespeare's lost plays? Is it the Holy Grail? The island gives them just enough hope to keep them trapped, but never enough to set them free. Decades turn into centuries. Men spend their entire lives and fortunes on this island. A man named Gilbert Hedden comes. A man named Robert Restall comes. Restall moves his family to the island. He lives in a small cabin near the pit, but the island demands a price. Legend says 7 people must die before the treasure is found. In 1965, Robert Restall falls into a shaft and inhales toxic gas. His son jumps in to save him. 2 workers jump in to save them. All 4 men die in the darkness. The count is now 6. Today, the island is quiet again mostly. The heavy machinery of modern hunters is there, but at night, they turn the engines off. The pit remains a water-filled scar on the land. The ocean still flows into the flood tunnels, guarding the secret. Imagine the complex workings underground, the wood rotting, the water rushing through stone channels lined with eelgrass and coconut fiber. The treasure, whatever it is, sitting in the absolute dark, under tons of pressure, wet and silent. What is down there? Is it the treasure of the Knights Templar? Is it the jewels of Marie Antoinette? Or is it nothing? Maybe the treasure was moved long ago. Maybe the pit itself is the trick, a distraction to keep people digging in the wrong place. Or maybe, just maybe, it is still there, waiting for the one person who can solve the riddle of the water. And now, let us step away from the edge of the pit. The fog is rolling in off the Atlantic. It covers the island in a soft, cool mist. The oak trees are swaying. The tackle block is long gone, but the mystery remains. You are far away from the mud and the frustration. You are safe in your clean, dry bed. Imagine the sound of the ocean waves hitting the shore of Oak Island. It is a rhythmic, soothing sound. Wash in, wash out. The water protects the secret, and the water lulls you to sleep. Let your mind drift like a boat on the bay. There's no need to dig anymore. No need to search. The answers are not important tonight. Only the rest is important. Feel your muscles relaxing, your breathing deepening. The island is sleeping. The treasure is sleeping. And you are sleeping. And now, we embark on our final journey, the longest journey of them all. We leave the land behind completely. We travel to the roof of the world, to the freezing waters of the Arctic Ocean, off the coast of Alaska. The year is 1931. Imagine a massive steel cargo ship, the SS Bachimo. She is a strong ship built to fight the ice. She belongs to the Hudson's Bay Company, and her belly is full of valuable furs trapped in the wild north. It is October. The winter is coming early. The sky turns a heavy, bruised purple. The temperature drops drastically. The ocean begins to thicken. It turns to slush, then to solid white stone. The Bachamo pushes forward. Her steam engines roar. Chug, chug, chug. But the ice is stronger. It closes in around the ship like a vice. On October 1st, the ship stops. It is trapped, locked in a frozen embrace near the tiny village of Barrow. The crew, 37 men, are not worried. They are used to the ice. They turn off the engines. The silence descends. They wait for the wind to change, for the ice to crack. But the ice only grows thicker. Imagine the sound of the pressure. The steel hull groaning. Creak. The ice screaming as it grinds against the metal. Screech. It is the sound of nature fighting technology. The captain decides it is too dangerous to stay on board. They climb down the rope ladders onto the ice. They walk a mile across the frozen ocean to the shore. They build a small wooden shelter, a hut to keep them warm while they wait for the ship to be free. They sit in the hut, drinking tea, listening to the blizzard howling outside. Every day, they look out the window. The massive black shape of the Bachamo is still there, stuck in the white plain, a monument to patience. Weeks pass. November arrives. The polar night begins. The sun refuses to rise. The world is bathed in eternal twilight. Then, on November 24th, a massive blizzard strikes. It is a whiteout. The wind screams at 70 miles per hour. The snow is so thick you cannot see your own hand in front of your face. The men in the hut huddle together. They cannot go outside. They cannot check on the ship. They simply wait in the dark. When the storm finally clears, 3 days later, the men rush out. They look towards the ocean. They expect to see the ship buried in snow. But when they look, the ocean is empty. The Bachamo is gone. There is only a ridge of jagged ice where the ship used to be. The captain assumes the worst. The storm must have crushed the hull. The ship must have sunk to the bottom of the freezing sea. They are sad, but they are alive. They pack their things and leave the coast, believing the Bachamo is dead. But they were wrong. A week later, an Inuit hunter comes to them. He says, "I saw your giant ship." He says it was floating miles away, drifting through a crack in the ice. The captain goes to look, and there she is, the Bachamo, floating peacefully, unmanned, ghostly. The captain boards her one last time. He sees that she is damaged, but buoyant. He decides she is too far gone to save. He takes the most valuable furs. He closes the door, and he leaves her. He abandons the ship to the mercy of the Arctic. He thought she would sink in a few days, but the Bachamo had a soul of her own. She did not sink. She began a journey that would last for 38 years. Imagine the ship, completely empty, sailing herself through the most dangerous waters on Earth. No captain at the wheel, no coal in the furnace, no lights in the windows, just a steel shell, drifting with the currents. Months turned into years. Explorers would see her. In 1932, a dog sledder saw her near the coast. He climbed on board. The deck was covered in snow. The teacups were still on the table in the mess hall, frozen in place. The silence on board was heavier than the silence outside. He left, spooked by the emptiness. In 1933, a group of Inuit travelers found her. A storm trapped them, and they actually lived inside the ghost ship for 10 days. Imagine sleeping in the cabins of a ship that is wandering aimlessly through the ice, listening to the hull bump against the icebergs. Bump, scrape, wondering if tonight is the night she finally sinks. But she kept them safe, and when the storm broke, they left. Years passed. The paint began to peel. The rust began to spread, turning the black hull into a deep orange. The sails shredded in the wind, but she kept floating. She was seen in 1934, in 1935, in 1939. Captains of other ships would salute her as they passed. She became a legend, the ghost ship of the Arctic. She traveled thousands of miles, zigzagging back and forth, pushed by the wind and the tides. The world changed. World War II started and ended. The Bachamo was still drifting. Satellites were launched into space. The Bachamo was still drifting. She became part of the landscape, a mobile island of steel. The polar bears climbed onto her deck to rest. The seagulls nested in her rigging. She was no longer a machine of man. She was a creature of the ice. The last confirmed sighting was in 1969, 38 years after she was abandoned. A group of Inuit fishermen saw her, frozen in a large pack of ice in the Chukchi Sea. She looked tired, gray, ancient, but she was still afloat. After that, she was never seen again. Did she finally sink? Did the ocean finally claim her? Or is she still out there, hidden in a remote fjord where no one goes, floating under the northern lights? Imagine her now, tonight, in your mind, the SS Bachamo, the ultimate survivor, drifting in the absolute silence of the north. The water is calm and black like ink. The icebergs float around her like white ghosts. The stars reflect on the frozen deck. There's no time there. No clocks ticking. No deadlines. Just the endless, gentle motion of the sea. She is at peace. She has no destination. She has no burden. She just is. Let your mind become like that ship. Cast off your ropes. Let go of your anchor. You don't need to steer anymore. You don't need to fight the current. Just drift. Feel the cool, fresh air filling your lungs. Feel the slow rocking motion of the waves. Back and forth, back and forth. It is the rhythm of deep sleep. The heavy steel of your body is becoming light. You are floating on a sea of dreams. The fog is wrapping around you, soft and protective. The journey is over. The stories are told. The mysteries are resting. And now you must rest too. Sink deeper, deeper into the warmth, deeper into the quiet. There's nothing but peace here. Eternal, drifting peace. Sleep now. Sleep. Sleep. Good night.